All right. Welcome everybody to this wonderful call this afternoon, this evening, wherever you're tuning in from. Go ahead and tell us in the comments here where you're tuning in from. And I'm really honored to be joined today by Isabel Cuarta. And we're going to be sharing some stories with you, some questions with you, some deep inquiry with you. My name is Christina Amon. I have been partnered with a company called Purium for 5 years and have really gained so many blessings on the path that I've been with this company, and you're going to get to hear why. But it's really brought me to why I'm here today and what we're sharing about. So let me just go back in time a little bit and give some context. Back, I don't even know how many years, somebody here might know. At the onset of kind of the agricultural revolution, this was the first time where people had been hunter-gatherers and nomadic and moving around. And at the time that agriculture became something that people could really do on a massive scale, and as a farmer, I celebrate farming. And the interesting thing is, it's also the same time that people were getting to be able to be controlled for the first time. So it was the first time that certain groups of people were able to accumulate wealth and use it to control and create systems that required the labor and enslavement of other people in order for that minority group's economy to thrive. So what exactly do I mean by that? Well, let's fast forward to our current reality. We're living in it. We've all grown up in it. We're so conditioned by it that it sometimes is so normalized that we don't even question it. And what we're here to do is to kind of peel back a little bit. What have we gotten so used to? Well, we've gotten so used to a system where centralized power has created a capitalist machine where the 1% or the corporate minority, when you compare it with the population of the planet, is profiting and thriving at the expense of the many. It's requiring the enslavement of the many. That might seem like an extreme word, but it's requiring people to give away their most precious resource, which is time, and not have it be exchanged at the value that it's worth. So these systems have over time made it so that we're living in a culture that it's all we can expect. We think this is the best I can hope for. Give away all my time, hope to get a somewhat comfortable living, maybe retire, maybe get, living for weekends and hopefully a vacation. All meanwhile, this small percentage of people who are benefiting from this system are gaining more and more and more. So it sounds really dire and maybe horrific, and it is truly. But the reason that I'm going in and really painting this clear picture of what's been going on for so long and how normalized it is because we're in these unprecedented times where people are realizing for the first time in all of these hundreds or thousands of years what's been happening. And that you can look it up on the internet right now. We are in a period called the Great Resignation, where an estimated 50% of the workforce is expected to leave their jobs by the end of this year. Every time I say that, it still is shocking to me. And the reason is it's a combination of factors, but essentially with the time that people maybe had off work, where they got to really dive in and take inventory, take a close look at what is the life that I'm living and how comfortable am I with it, and how close is it in alignment with my values or what I really want to do with my life? How am I spending my time? How am I investing my time, my most precious resource? And is this, on the day that I leave this world, what I want to look back and say I've done. People are really looking at these questions, and they're coming to realize that it's not enough, that the life that they've been handed or created or achieved thus far is not enough. And part of this system that has been created to elevate the few and subordinate the masses, part of what that's done is, in the way that it's been done, is by removing people from their inner knowing, their inner dreams, their inner guidance. You know, we've created so much noise in the world that people have lost the ability to just listen into that silence and receive their own personal guidance for what kind of life would be the most meaningful to them. And yet the world got quieter last year, didn't it? And so people are starting to get these messages and starting to wake up to, you know what, I want to do something different. What else is out there? What else? And then these dreams are starting to awaken in people. People are starting to tap back into old ancient memories even of what kind of life is possible as a human here on earth. And I personally believe it's one of great abundance, of great pleasure, of great joy, of great health and vibrancy and vitality in our bodies, and great freedom of thought and cultural expression and exchange of goods and services. Ultimately, this is exactly what money in its most heightened form is, just simply an exchange of goods and services, of compensation at the value of goods and services. So it's currency, right? It's like water. It's a way of humans just interacting and being in the dance of life and sharing with each other all the richness that is life, that is human, that is the advancement of thought and art and culture and music and the expansion, right? I even believe that we've only tapped into such a small percentage of what's possible as being human. And so I feel really excited because I feel like we're at the dawning of an age where we can start to really expand into this full potentiality of what it is to be human, what it is to be on this earth, what it is to live once again, as our ancestors once did, in harmony and balance with the earth. And from that place, live in great luxury and abundance. I'm going to get more into my story, but a little tidbit is that my background is in permaculture design. And I remember very clearly my teacher saying, we're not here teaching you sustainability. We're here teaching you regeneration. We're here to talk about creating more and creating new out of what was, not just to sustain what we have. And that was the moment. And they actually said, we're here for sustainable hedonism. And that concept, what the idea they planted for me in that moment is that when we are operating on this planet in regenerative systems, so again, this idea of taking something and creating more of it, taking soil and regenerating the soil and turning it into more fertility and possibility than was there before. When we do that all over the planet, we are growing more than enough, more than anybody could ever consume. There's plenty to share. There's overabundance, there's overflow, there's harvest just going into compost to create more soil, to create the next forms of life, right? So this is the world that is part of regenerative solutions. And the same thing when we're talking about regenerative health, we're talking about taking what is, giving the body all of the support it needs to let go of anything it doesn't want to be holding on to, anything that isn't serving, is not part of a vibrant system, and then giving it the tools and the foods, the frequencies, the support to completely regenerate. So we're talking about rebuilding cells and tissues and organs and all kinds of things that often our modern day cultures, which often are, again, this centralized system of saying, We are in authority. We tell you from the time that we're born, these systems are telling us, you don't know what's best for you. We tell you what's best for you medically. We tell you what you need to learn in school. We tell you if you're good enough to receive this job. We're constantly fighting for our worth and approval because they are, again, thriving by disconnecting us from each other, pitting us against each other, and disconnecting us from our own source of knowing and knowing how to resource what's in ourselves, whether it's for physical healing, emotional healing, planetary healing. So, all of this is to say that's what we're here to share with you today. We're here to share with you something that we call the Purium economy. This is a way that we have tapped into a system, a movement, a vehicle, a community that we have been able to tap into to regenerate wealth. So we're talking about creating income streams for people who are doing good work, good people doing good work. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, what we're doing is it starts with a seed, just like with plants, it starts with a seed, and that seed is our vision that we want to create for our life. So when we can remove the noise and we can, in that silence, and remember once again what we're really here for, what we believe we're here to do, what we see is possible on this planet, what we want to pass on to our children and the children's children and the future generations. When we can tap into that vision and get clear, that's where it begins, tapping into awakening the dream within ourselves. Once we have that in place, the next part is collaboration. We're connecting with each other. We're opening relationships. We're tending relationships. Now, if you're on a spiritual path, if you're on a human social path, you know that relationships are not, it's not as simple as that, because when we're in relationship, our stuff comes up. Whatever we need to work on, whatever we need to look at, so that we can release all those old programs is going to come up in these relationships. It's going to come up in this work. So we want to be equipped. We want to know we're in it for this ride, and we want to resource each other, that we're in community, we're doing this work together. That work comes up so that we can become the best version of ourselves, and we can come from the heart. The whole point is to become a more loving human being and more in service to others. So we're asking ourselves every day, who can I support today? How can I how can I listen to this person and hear what their needs are? And possibly, because we're now connected, possibly what I have could be a solution to what they're looking for. Possibly what they have could be a solution to what I'm looking for. And so we're weaving with each other and we're reconnecting this web of humanity that's been so fragmented and separated. And so we're bringing forth this new paradigm in our relationships by dreaming our dreams. And that's pretty much it. We're dreaming, we're forming relationships and working through the intricacies of relationships, and we're providing solutions. And so I want to bring on my friend Isabel Cuarta. She is amazing. She's a mama. She's a community leader, a community builder. I know that you have lived on, and you'll tell us more of your story, what kinds of exactly the communities that you've been a part of. But this mama is so fierce in her passion for what is possible here, what happens when we disrupt this system, when we decentralize all of that's been accumulated and we start to redistribute that wealth into good people doing good work, and what kind of future we can hope for and hope to pass on to future generations. So thanks so much for being on this call, Mama.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I feel really honored to be here and to just have these few moments to speak to all of you and to share my heart and share my story. I really started out on this journey when I made my way into intentional community about 6 years ago. And I did that out of this deep longing to be more connected to the earth, like living in the system and doing the thing and being really good at it, but also feeling like I don't know if this is the whole picture of life. Like I was really young and really capable in so many ways, and I saw my trajectory had I continued to like live my life the way I had been living it. And honestly, it just wasn't that exciting for me. I didn't really want to do it. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to know how to survive on the land. I wanted to know what it felt like to have my hands in fresh soil every day and to grow my own food and to be more connected with the people that I lived with, the people that were close to me at a heart level. And so I just kind of followed this like inner longing that was just only my own, my heart's curiosity out to this beautiful, wild, intentional community out in the jungles of East Hawaii. And man, it's just been like a profound process of discovery for me and beginning to understand like how deeply diluted the culture that I came from has been, and like helping people connect to their true nature and helping people connect to like how we live in a good way on the earth together. And I feel like I've spent the last 6 years like unlearning that and thinking like, yeah, I'm gonna like just totally divest from the corporate systems. I'm gonna get out. I'm like getting out of the matrix, like really, passionate and fiery and like a little bit righteous. And a couple years in, I realized like this is hard. This is a lot of work, and I'm like working all day, not just on the land, but like on my relationships with people, and like living with people is way harder than growing food. It's so much work. And so I just realized like we need more resources. We need more support. I felt really connected, like heart connected to people. I felt super connected to the land, and also realized like it's like it didn't feel right to me that for the people who are really trying to live on the land in a good way and create and really like birth new cultures together and also support the cultures who already know how to live on the land with integrity and in care for the earth, that it has to be such an uphill battle against these corporate systems. So I opened my heart to a different strategy, and Purium just happened to fit like every single bit of criteria that I had cultivated inside myself. And the more I learned about it, the more I dove into it, the more I realized like, whoa, this is beyond what I could ever have like imagined for myself. And honestly, at this point, for like the first time in my adult life, my capacity to envision the way that I want to enact my service in the world doesn't feel limited anymore by like, oh, there's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough people. Suddenly I'm like connected to the resources, the humans, the foods, the practices, the community, the funds to like really make big moves. And for me, it helps to like solidify the why of like, what does the world really look like when more of the land is in the hands of people who aren't going to dump toxic chemicals on it, who are going to regenerate the soil and like create a really healthy environment for food to grow for ourselves, for our children, for their children, for their children, for people who are paying attention to clean waterways and like caring for the whole system. And instead of this being like a kind of small dream that I held with some grief, now it's like a burning fire that like gets me moving every day. And these are the people that I want to connect with. And I'm so grateful that like my own life's mission is something that fits in so seamlessly with the platform that Purium offers and with the vehicle of this like transformative economic model, and also the values of the company and how they're using such powerful regenerative farming practices and the plastic free and the way they're contributing to social justice movements. It's like, I mean, I could go on and on about how aligned it is, but at this point, I'm just like, who's in? Who wants to do this together? Who wants to grow abundance together so that we can be a part of really profound change on this planet right now and living on the earth together and growing food together and healing our cultural wounds about like extractive cultures. And like, I'm just totally in for it. And I really look forward to more people who are so fired up about living in alignment with their values and in alignment with true service, to recognize this as the tool that it is, with like unlimited growth potential, because I'm like profoundly touched to my heart by this and by the people that I work with, and I just can't wait to keep growing in this way. So thank you so much for making space for me to share this.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know you're what I really appreciate you about you is drop some love in the comments if you can feel the heart. I love the way that you said, I opened my heart to another strategy when you were really looking for how to make your vision come to fruition on this planet. And so you can feel your love, you can feel your heart, you can feel your sensitivity to the human heart, and yet there's so not yet, but and there's so much power in that, and that is part of this new way that we're moving into, which again is very different from the centralized corporatocracy that, what is it, 60 the billionaires of the world during the pandemic increased their income by 65%. I mean, we got work to do. So I so appreciate the way that you show up, and you're such a powerful leader in that, and bringing in a whole team of people. So I'm going to wrap it up here for all of you by sharing my story really quickly, and also why, Isabel shared a lot of points of why Purium. It's the soil, the regenerated, it's deep, rich, remineralized soil. The purity standards, there's absolutely zero tolerance for any contaminants, heavy metals, glyphosate, mold, anything. It's all discarded if anything like that were found. And the dehydration process keeps the amount of enzymes and nutrients at maximum capacity. So when you add water to these superfoods, you feel this complete living food experience, and you feel completely alive, going straight into your bloodstream, giving you energy, giving you deep cellular nourishment. And this has alleviated all kinds of symptoms for people. So people have really gotten their bodies back, their life back, their joy back, rebalanced hormones, cleared digestive issues, skin issues, brain fog, um, gotten fertile and had babies after doing these transformations. Like Isabel said, the company is going plastic free. They really walk their talk. They support indigenous movements and protecting the sacred. They support protecting land from the development of Monsanto. And one of the key products of the over 70 products this company has is the first and only product that pulls glyphosate out of the gut, repairs the gut villi, and repopulates prebiotics and probiotics. So it's a full gut system repair, which, if you look into gut health, is really at the core of all of our health: immune health, emotional health, mental health, physical health. And glyphosate has been attributed to the main cause of all kinds of autoimmune and autism and all sorts of imbalances. So this one product, if everybody was just on this one product, we would make strides. But ultimately what you're seeing is that we're disrupting the corporatized chemical food system. We're disrupting the corporatized chemical medicine system. And we're really giving people full sovereignty of their own health, of their own choices. And financially, we're giving people an option that they can work from home, work from anywhere, set their own hours. There's no boss, there's nobody telling you what to do, what not to do, what to put in your body, what not to put in your body. You get to live a life by design. So on a very simple terms, the way that this works is when you invest in your health, because health is an investment, not an expense. And it's easier to invest in our wellness now so we're not paying for illness later. When you invest in your first 30-day superfoods program, which we have many people on the call who have participated. Drop a 2 in the comments if you've benefited from this program. It's an excellent full system reset, and you can do it all the way from a full deep detox cleanse, or on the other end of the spectrum, you can just add it into your life. Keep it real simple. Let it support and nourish you. This is not a deprivation program. We're not here to make you go hungry or weak or take anything away from you other than help you release what you don't need. But we're here to just flood our bodies with nutrition and really give to ourselves. And when we give to ourselves, our body can easily and naturally let go of what it no longer needs. So, in closing, I'll tell my story really quickly. 5 years ago, my husband and I were struggling to develop land that we had gotten with the same vision of creating a homestead, community, abundant gardens, herbal medicine, places for people to gather in celebration, education, healing. And we had 2 children, and my husband was working full time, we were trying to make it all work, and it was very clear that it was going to take more than his single income to pull off this vision. So when this partnering with this company crossed my path, I was very open to the idea of this sort of unlimited income stream because I saw that that's what it would take to develop our land, to get it to the place where at least it was creating multiple streams of income and being of service to the community, which is ultimately what we really are wanting to do it for. So again, like Isabel said, it checked off all of my boxes once I had all my questions and concerns answered. And 5 years later, now we have an organization within this company that just in our organization alone did over $3 million in sales last year. We have an income stream that is part-time hours. I'm still able to be a full-time mom, do lots of lovely self-care. We definitely prioritize self-care in this business and recreation and play and connection with each other. I've grown as a leader and have much more healthy relationships with people from the shy, insecure person that I used to be. And we're really seeing our dream literally unfold before our eyes on the land and creating something that can be of service to many generations forward and really honor the land, what the land is asking for, and what the ancient wisdom and the indigenous wisdom is calling forth on that land. So it is my great honor and pleasure to support anybody else out there who is looking for a way to fund their dreams, to exit the workforce if it is no longer something that is in alignment with your values, to create more possibility than you ever thought before, to create generational wealth for the future generations, to just change cycles that you might have been born into and create something fresh and new going forward. So thank you so much. I want to honor everybody's time who came to the call. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening, or if you're on the replay. And we are going to do, I will end the recording here, and we are going to do a little giveaway for people here who came to the Zoom. Gosh, I don't know how to do it with the Facebook because I can't see that. So sorry, Facebook people. I'll have to figure that out for next time.